Well, hey there, welcome to the latest episode of Hiker Homily. Today I'm going to go over a simple kind of a subject. It seems really simple, and yet it's something that I think a decent amount of people kind of overlook. Now, some folks don't have to worry about this. They typically, when they hike in a group. They've got a bunch of friends that they hike with and stuff like that. But there's a decent amount of hikers out there that are kind of like me. I don't always have a group of friends to go hiking with. Being myself retired and a decent amount of my friends not retired, they're still working and things like that. They don't always have the time available. I don't always hike on the weekends. Usually, especially during the hiking season, to try and keep my feet in shape and keep things going, I'm usually doing a decent amount of walking. Now, a lot of that walking is going to be urban hiking. It's going to be, local levee trails in my area, living out here in the California Delta, out here in the California Delta area. A lot of the cities that have canals going through it and things like that, agricultural canals, or they've built levees around their rivers to keep them from flooding during certain times of year and things like that. They've put bike paths and walking paths on top of them. So there's quite a few of those, and it's a nice walk. And there's quite a few parts here in the city I live in where literally the city ends and there's still this levee path that you can walk on that actually goes out into the countryside. Definitely not the wilderness or anything like that, but you've probably seen in other videos I've put out me walking in those kinds of places. It's kind of nice, actually. And it's like I say, it's real simple. You're not talking about elevation changes. You're not talking about any kind of major stuff. I've still seen some cool wildlife out there and had a good time. But and it just kind of gets me out there. But it's not like I'm way out in the wilderness. But even with that going on, what we're going to talk about today, I still use this tactic. I let someone know where I'm going and how long I'll be and all that kind of stuff. And really, that behooves most hikers. I'm going to do this again, and I'll probably do it in other videos, but I'm going to make yet another pitch. I am not sponsored by any companies, so you can get anyone you want out there. But I highly recommend, if you are going to be doing actual hiking in the backcountry and things, especially if you're going to be doing overnights and week-long backpacking trips and things like that, I totally suggest, as I have done, that you get a emergency locator beacon and things like that. I know that there are some folks in the hiking community, for whatever reason, are anti those things, and they didn't have those back in the day, and all that kind of anecdotal, ridiculous, childish things to say against them. But it's like a safety precaution, it's silly. My car has airbags. I've never had to use them, not once, thank goodness. But if I ever had to, boy, am I going to be glad they're there. They could save my life or the lives of someone I love in the car. So just because I have this small thing hanging on my backpack that I have so far in 2 years never ever had to use as far as an emergency thing, okay, it's still not useless as far as I'm concerned. It's serving its purpose by just being there at the ready. So, end of that pitch. Like I say, I'm not going to give you a company. I'm not going to give you a certain one to buy. I just highly recommend that you carry something like that. Something that if you do get into trouble, you are able to get a signal out to call for help if you are out there hiking by yourself. Okay? Anyway, so let's talk about basically having an emergency contact or someone kind of on overwatch. Now, obviously, they don't have to be constantly watching you. Going back to the emergency beacon, the one that I happen to have, some of my loved ones can actually do that. I just tell them I'm going to be blah, 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 and I set my little thing on track, and every however minutes I set it for, it gives off a little signal saying, here I am. And at home, they can actually go to the website I give them, and it's pretty much private and secure. It's the only people who can see it are the ones that I have given this particular website thing to. They go to it, and they can actually, well, there he is. He's walking along the trail. Every so many, I think I have mine set for either 10 or 15 minutes or something like that. Every 15 minutes or so, ding, there he is. Oh, now he's this much further. And they can see that I'm moving. For longer hikes way out, like when I do backpacking in the Sierras and stuff, I think it's nice that my wife can watch my progress when she wants to. She doesn't have to just sit there staring at it, but she can check. She knows my general whereabouts, and she can see that, okay, he had planned on doing pretty much the whole day. He was going to try and get to such and such. That was his plan, he told me. And I can see he's progressing there pretty regularly. He looked like he stopped about here. Oh, but that was around time where he probably ate lunch right there. That's probably why he was there for a while. And then now he's continuing, that kind of thing. But even for simple day hikes, like when I will tell my wife, hey, today I'm going to go walk on such and such levee. I'll probably be back by noon or whatever. She's at work. She's not going to do that, but she can at least tell. If anything goes wrong, she can at least tell the authorities, this is where he said he was going to be at this time. And that's a starting point to get help to you, things like that. But so even for the simple walks, I'll let someone know, usually my wife. But especially for like if I'm going to go to one of the places I really like over by Mount Diablo, Black Diamond Regional Park, or even a nice little walk around Cosumnes River Preserve, I'm going to tell my contact is usually my wife, here's what I plan on doing, here's how long I plan on taking. And so she knows that if it doesn't seem like I got there, or it's been like well over an hour since I had kind of said, and she hasn't heard anything from me, hey, I should be done by this time, and yet here I'm not back, or she hasn't heard from me or something like that, there may be a problem. Okay? And someone realizing right away is a problem, there could be a problem, is that much faster that help can get to you if you really are in trouble. So yeah, it's kind of that simple. One of the things you need to do when you are planning a trip before you go is not just all the prep I've talked about before, done videos on how to prep for trips and things like that. Part of that preparation is somebody at home needs to know what, especially if you're going by yourself. If you're going as a group, it's probably good too. But if you are definitely going out there by yourself, like I did last summer, I just went into the Sierras on my own, just kind of my old stomping grounds and stuff, and had a nice little short trip there and stuff like that. My wife was able to track me on my tracker, but she knew what my plan was, what I was planning on doing and where I was planning on doing it, and things like that. You need that kind of contact. Somebody needs to be given that information, and things like that. Now, I did a whole nother video on like a whole list of things that's smart to do. I'll review a couple of those things. Whoever your emergency contact is should have, so hopefully it's somebody you trust. And I don't understand how you don't have somebody in your life that you can't trust a little bit with this kind of thing, but they should have the access code to your phone, just in case. What if that's the only thing that's found? You slipped down a mountain, but your phone stayed on the trail because it fell out of your hand, or heaven forbid, the worst thing happened and you're dead at the bottom of a gulch, but an animal has dragged your body away. But they do find part of your remains and your phone. Okay, they're having access to that could help locate other things, stuff like that. There's just other reasons for that. So they should have certain information and things like that. But the main point is definitely do not go out, especially into the backcountry, even if it's for a day hike, if you're going into serious areas and stuff, without giving a family member or a loved one doesn't have to be super detailed, but basic itinerary. Okay, like for example, when I did the Black Diamond, the Ridge Trail, I let my wife know the night before, I'm going to leave about 6:30 in the morning. Should take me about an hour to get there. So 7:30-ish, 8 o'clock, somewhere around there, depending on how traffic is, I should be on the trail. I'm planning on doing what they call the Ridge Trail. That should take me a couple of hours, and then I'll get back to my car and head home. And by that time, depending on what time it is, I may stop somewhere real quick to get a burger or something like that. And basically that was the information I gave her, and she had an extra map of mine, so she knew generally where that was. I showed her, this is what I'm planning on doing, and that was information she had just in case. Now, usually when I go out and do those kinds of day hikes, I have my tracker on because I like, it tells me how many miles I did, what my elevation changes were, so I do it for that reason right there. And then, of course, if anything were to happen, it's like, oh my gosh, he was supposed to be home by 2 o'clock this afternoon. Here it is, 4 o'clock, and we haven't heard from him. She can check. Where was the last time this thing went off? Well, it looked like he did the whole loop and he got back to the car. Okay, so maybe it's not a hiking problem. Maybe I had a problem on the highway, but that helps narrow it down. Somebody needs to have that kind of information. You have to have somebody doing, using a gamer term, Overwatch. And I know it's a military term too. But, someone who has the information just in case something goes wrong so they can get help to you or activate the emergency system sooner than who knows how long it would take before someone realized you were missing. Okay? Yeah. Hopefully you have somebody in your life where you can do that. I certainly hope so. So there's that basic thing. Hey, we're having fun out here. I've already got a couple of hikes in for this season. Some other nice little fun things. I'm doing some, urban walking and things like that to get myself going. My knee's feeling pretty decent. So I'm really happy with that. Looking forward to some other hiking. I've got a couple of friends who have reached out to me talking about how they want to do a couple of things too. So I may hook up with them and get some cool hiking in. Until then, I'm doing a lot of fun gardening out here. We've got a lot of stuff covered. You can see the cover behind me and out there in the garden, because for last night and the next 2 nights, we are, for whatever reason, all of a sudden at below freezing temperature for the evenings. So everything was good, and even the old Farmer's Almanac said we were done with frost season. Oh, just kidding. All of a sudden we have these 3 nights that we're going to be down to 26 degrees and frost in the morning. So with some of our plants already deciding, hey, spring is here as far as we're concerned, and they have sprouted, we have covered a bunch of them that might not do well in the frost, including my birds of paradises and some of the stuff I have behind me. So that's what's going on with that. But other than that, that's what I'm doing. I'm hiking and gardening, having a good time, and looking forward to a pretty good year this year, doing a lot of fun stuff. I hope you'll join me on some of those things. And other than that, as always, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you have any comments on having an emergency contact available and things like that someone who knows where you're going and how long you're going to be out there, let me know as usual at hikingforhealthca@gmail.com, or comment down below or on any of the social medias where this gets posted. Other than that, stay safe out there. Have a great time, and I hope you're able to start enjoying some good weather depending on what part of the country you're in. Other than that, I'll talk to you later.